Women, y'all have no clue what's coming to y'all. We in the game now. Our future options is marriage, mental asylum, or the military. Excuse me? Who's gonna say not our daughters? Who's gonna scream not our granddaughters? Women, y'all have no clue what's coming to y'all. We in the game now. Our future options is marry, mental asylum, or the military. Excuse me? Who's gonna say not our daughters? Who's gonna scream not our granddaughters? Not our sisters, our wives, our cousins, our nieces, everybody we love. If you're not married and trying to have a baby by 18, from 18 to 26, you are drafted. And if you talking that delusional stuff, you're going to the mental asylum. And the DSM-5 that's about to come out is labeling delusional in there. We so worried about ourselves, our future is fluffed. I mean, what else do you say? Here's the executive order. Shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment. And since we all know that the growing epidemic right now is homeless women, unsheltered homeless women, by the way, they told y'all politely, we'll pick you up off the streets, but you're going to the mental asylum. You don't believe me? Who else requires humane treatment? Long-term institutional setting. You only got marriage, mental asylum, or military. This ain't a game.
I'd rather be trapped in the forest with a black man or a bear.
Definitely a bear. I ain't gonna cap.
The bear.
A bear. Let's go with a bear.
Oh, a bear?
I take my chances with the bear.
A bear. Why the bear?
Look at these generation of men.
I don't trust these men.
I ain't no telling what he'll do. I know what the bear tried to do. The bear tried to grab me, and I had to beat the bear up or something. You know how they got these 100 against the gorilla? I would be one of the 100.
I don't know the black man.
At least I would know his intentions. You don't really know what a human's intentions are going to be if you're alone with him.
I don't got no answer, just the bear.
I feel like the bear wouldn't try to fuck me. You know, I'd rather die than a year. You know what I'm saying?
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honors, and all glories unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles and my elders, the very millstone, they're doing even well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the members of the elect. They reflect the 1/3 to USA Shalom. This is Brother Dawada from GMS Detroit Camp coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Today I want to do another in transit. Title of this video will be You Better Wake Up. You know, or maybe it'll be something along those lines. We'll see. Lord's will, this video be edifying to the elect. Now, as you saw, you know, the opening clip, you had the so-called black woman lamenting concerning a, you know, executive order that she saw. You know, whether or not it's actually a thing that's really being considered, I'd have to research that further. You know, I'd have to research that further. But nevertheless, seeing that this is an in transit, you know, I can only report on what I just saw, you know, and she goes into it, you know. But ultimately, you know, whether or not that really gets put into effect, you know, we'll see. You know, but the effect that it's having upon her, that's what we can say is for sure real. Right? The effect that it's having on her. That being that she's concerned that guess what? You know, if she becomes homeless, her options may just be either to be forcibly, you know, booted into the military, or if they claim insanity, then you're going to be thrown into an insane asylum, you know, or, you know, you better be, you know, within that childbearing range of 18 to 26, you know, where you're trying to get pregnant. So if you don't fall within that category, guess what? You're out of there. And, you know, ultimately, you know, once again, whether or not that report is true, I'd have to research that. You know, Lord's will. When I get to my stop, I can actually look at that. But the fact of the matter is this: hard times are coming to you, women. You know, hard times are really not just coming; they're already here. You know, recently there's this report concerning, I believe it's SNAP, that's going to be cut. All right, I'm not sure if it's this month or next month, but there's a lot of people talking about, you know, SNAP being cut, and we know a lot of women make, you know, or get their one of the main crutches that they have within the society is indeed that SNAP. Another good one is WIC, you know, EBT, Section 8, food stamps. You know, these different things help, all right, primarily the so-called black women thrive. Well, not just black women, but, you know, women in general. But I'm primarily zoning in on the women of the tribes, but beginning with the so-called black woman. Why? Because she is the most cursed in comparison to the other woman of our nation. She's the most cursed. And that's why, you saw the interview, they're asking, hey, you know, if you're trapped, you know, would you rather be stuck with a man or with the bear? Who would you rather be stuck amongst? And the majority of these women said a bear, showing you that the Heavenly Father has indeed deprived her of wisdom. And he did not impart unto her understanding. Here it is. You have a 0% chance. If a bear is actually trying to go at you, you have a 0% chance of survival. If you're stuck in a forest with a man, guess what? That man might actually try to help you and help you escape. Let alone what's going to happen if it's cold. The scriptures say what? How can you get heat if you're by yourself? Roughly paraphrasing the book of Sirach. Right? So if you're alone, guess what? You're not going to be warm in that nighttime. You don't know how to start a fire. You don't know how to survive out there within the wilderness. You don't know how to fish. You don't know how to hunt. You don't know what herbs you can eat, what herbs you can't eat. You don't know that. Right? And you're not going to have that comfort of having someone physically around you. You know? Not one of those women that said no actually said, well, you know what? Hold on. If I'm stuck in this forest with a bear, or I can be stuck in this forest with a man, okay, well, is that man going to try to harm me? You know, am I able to know that? Oh, no, you're not able to know that. Oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take my chances with the man. You know, maybe I can talk him out of, you know, whatever. Then none of them were thinking like that. Their immediate thought was, oh, the man, he's going to try to harm me. That bear will do more damage to you. But they're not thinking like that, you know? These women, they something else. So let's see, executive order about homeless woman drafts, or homeless draft. Let's see, homeless drafts, let's try that. Okay, let's check this out. President Trump's executive order on homelessness, a shift in federal. On July 24th, the Trump administration issued Executive Order 14321, titled Ending Crime and Disorder on American Streets, outlining sweeping changes in federal homelessness policy. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is it. The order marks a sharp break from 2 decades. 2 decades, a decade is 10 years, so that's 20 years of federal consensus around the housing first model, okay, which prioritizes permanent housing and voluntary services, which is a good idea. If you have a homelessness population, why not give them housing and then give them really not even voluntary services, or it says voluntary, okay, voluntary services. Really, if you have the homeless, give them housing and then give them the opportunity to work. Those two things will go hand in hand. And guess what? If they make enough money, now they don't need that service anymore. And now they can go and work on their own and afford housing. You know, so there's different things that Esau could do that are really easy, that'll help not just the homeless person, but also help the society roundabout. But Esau, he's not thinking like that because he's an unrighteous man. He's the wicked. All right. It says, instead Okay, so which prioritizes permanent housing and voluntary services. Okay, we talked about that. Which I would wonder, by voluntary services, I don't know if they're really saying, they're able to, volunteer as having an activity to do, or maybe they're saying voluntary services as in they have the option to, serve in the military or serve society in another way. I don't know. I'd have to research that further. Nevertheless, here's the point. Instead, it centers behavioral health as the primary focus of homelessness policy, introducing mandates and enforcement mechanisms intended to reshape how assistance is delivered and who is able or who is eligible. Okay. Look at this. Says limits federal support for housing first. Conditions housing assistance on behavioral health treatment. Wow. Okay. Says they're instructed to ensure federal housing programs require, where possible, active participation in treatment for substance use disorders or severe mental illness. Okay. Prioritizes support for jurisdictions enforcing public safety laws. Encourages expansion of involuntary civil commitment. Okay. Restricts harm reduction efforts. Mandates and interagency data sharing and law enforcement. Okay, I don't see anything about them needing to be within the military. Okay, let's look at this. President Trump's executive order on homelessness calls for the institutionalization, which we read about, or imprisonment, all right, imprisonment, so being thrown in jail, of people found sleeping outdoors. Which that's just wicked. Here it is, they don't have anywhere to go. What, you going to throw them into prison? Why not help that person out? But Esau don't think like
Women.
that. Now let's see what she was talking about. Okay. Let's see. Trying to find a point here. Okay, shifting homelessness, or rather homeless individuals, into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Okay. And fear is neither compassionate to the homeless or to other citizens. Okay. Now, let's see.
Humane treatment. And since we all know that the grown
And I didn't hear anything about them having to be in the military. I didn't read that within the article. So let's go back.
women, y'all have no clue what's coming to y'all. We in the game now. Our future options is marry, mental asylum, or the military.
Under no circumstance did it say that they had to be, they're going to be forced into the military. It doesn't say that. All right, it doesn't say that. Moreover, if they had a mental health condition, especially one that would prohibit them from carrying out, their orders and being able to safely handle, military machinery and weaponry, then they wouldn't. I don't believe that they would throw you in the military for that, or with that type of condition. So, she, I don't know why she threw that in there. Probably for clicks. But here's the fact. If you don't get down with the get down, all right, or rather if you're homeless then you could be thrown into a insane asylum, a psych facility. Now, maybe that's why she said the whole marriage thing, because if you're married, and guess what? If you got you a man and you got a secure relationship, you ain't got to worry about being homeless and having to live off a single income. You know? And then another thing some people do, some people just jump off and go to the military because they believe that the government is going to take care of them by way of them going to the military. Isaiah 32:9, rise up, ye women that are at ease. The majority of women here within America are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Yeah, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the venture shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats. That's your benefits. All right. And one of the main things that we're seeing, all right, is that it's going to be halted. Will SNAP benefits be halted, or rather, read that again. States warn SNAP benefits may stop in November if government shutdown continues. SNAP, EBT, food stamps, benefits accepted. You see a lot of stores that accept those government assistance programs, but eventually, look, that's not only will this thing stop, eventually that thing's gonna cease permanently. Okay, CBS News, states warn SNAP benefits may stop in November if government shutdown continues. Okay, that's really all we need to read from that. And what are these women doing? They're bugging right now. That's them lamenting for the teats. The teat, that's like old English for breast, tit, you know? And what would the child do? A child sucks on the breast for its nourishment. Likewise are these women doing. They go to the government to get nourished, all right? SNAP, WIC, EBT, all right? Section 8, food stamps, subsidized housing if possible, so on and so forth. This is the beginning of troubles for you, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. So this is going to get worse for you women, all right? So it behooves you to seek after the Lord while he may be found. Let's close out with this, Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So it behooves you, it'd be wise of you, for you to seek Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai now. Repent now, get right now with the Lord before that time period of trouble comes. All praise, honors, and glories be to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the blemish of my apostles and elders. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect. Shalom.